for decades. When you thought hypercar, you probably pictured something European, right? Italy, Germany, maybe even Sweden.
Definitely the usual suspects.
Oh,
Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche.
but what if America just, dropped a bombshell? Something that's not just competing, but maybe even redefining the category.
And doing it for, well, a lot less money.
Exactly. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the 2026 Corvette ZR1X. The source material is calling it an American hybrid hypercar revolution.
Big words, big claims.
They are. And our mission here is to unpack how Chevy actually engineered this thing. We're talking 1,250 horsepower.
Wow.
Yeah, hitting some truly mind-bending speeds, and why it seems to be gunning straight for cars like the Ferrari SF90, the Lamborghini
The
Revolta.
absolute titans of the industry.
Right, so you're about to learn what makes this car potentially revolutionary, especially, like you said, when you look at that, frankly, astonishing price tag.
Yeah, this really feels like it could rewrite the American performance rule book. It's definitely positioned as a bombshell, not just raw power, but challenging the whole hypercar economic model.
It feels like more than just an update. It's strategic, pushing Chevy right into that elite group.
And when we say elite, we mean it. The sources put it directly against the SF90, the Revuelto,
Porsche GT2 RS.
even the AMG one. These are, often seven-figure cars we're talking about.
Which makes that price point just wild.
It's fascinating. Sources are saying around $195,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and they describe it as shocking. One quote says it's keeping this monster grounded.
Barely.
And another calls it kind of a steal for a car that can, dance with seven-figure hypercars. It really changes the whole value conversation.
Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. How did they build this hybrid powerhouse? It starts with the ZR1, right? Which was already pretty intense.
Oh, yeah, the ZR1 was absolute bonkers already. 1,064 horsepower, 0-60 in 2.3 seconds. I mean, that's already incredibly fast.
But clearly not enough for this project. So what did they add? What pushes it over the edge into this hypercar realm?
Well, they took that incredible ZR1 base, and then they added a front-mounted electric motor.
Okay.
It's apparently borrowed and upgraded from the Corvette E-Ray.
Okay, so leveraging existing tech but boosting it.
Exactly. And this isn't about fuel economy, let's be clear. It's pure performance. It gives the ZR1X all-wheel drive.
Right, that's a big change.
Huge. And the result is a combined output of 1,250 horsepower and, get this, 971 pound-feet of torque.
Good grief, that torque number is massive. What does that actually do on the road? What are the acceleration figures looking like?
Well, strap in. The claim is 0-60 in under 2.0 seconds.
Under 2, seriously.
That's what they're saying. That is deep into hypercar territory. The source explicitly calls it Bugatti Chiron levels of stupid fast.
Okay, stupid fast seems appropriate there. What about the quarter mile?
Also ridiculous. Under 9 seconds at over 150 mph.
Wow.
And top speed is interesting. The hybrid system apparently helps up to about 160 mph. But the gas engine keeps pulling all the way to a blistering 233 miles per hour.
So it's definitely not your typical hybrid focused on efficiency then. Small battery, no plug.
Exactly. They call it a performance hybrid. Emphasis on performance. No plugs, just pure power delivery.
So all that electric juice is just for boosting acceleration, launching, corner exits.
Precisely. It's all about maximizing launch and corner exit speed. It seems like Chevy's philosophy here is electric power as a performance enhancer. Pure and simple. Less weight, less complexity than a big battery system.
Makes sense. Focus the energy where it counts for speed.
Right. And it gets even more interesting. They mention F1 level hybrid control. Modes like qualifying, push to pass, endurance.
Okay, that sounds like serious race car tech filtering down.
It really does. That level of control is usually reserved for, very high-end track machines.
That is an incredible amount of power. But going fast is one thing, stopping and handling is another. How do you control a 12,250 horsepower beast like this? What did Chevy do for brakes and chassis control?
Yeah, good question. You need serious stopping power. Then we got these new J59 brakes. That's Chevy's code for a pretty formidable system.
J59, okay. What does that mean in practice?
It means massive 10-piston front calipers, huge carbon ceramic rotors.
10 pistons.
Yeah. And to put a number on the stopping power, the source highlights testing at the Nürburgring.
Yeah.
Stopping from 180 down to 120 miles per hour, the car pulls 1.9 Gs of deceleration.
1.9 Gs. Just braking.
Just braking, which is frankly absurd stopping power, vital for track use, obviously.
Really, you need that confidence. But adding a hybrid system, those massive brakes,
Eh,
that adds weight,
right.
right? How do they deal with that extra mass? Must affect handling.
It definitely does. The estimate is about 260 pounds added for the hybrid components.
Okay.
So Chevy apparently retuned the underbody aerodynamics quite a bit, trying to maintain the balance and manage that extra weight effectively.
Aero tuning, right. Makes sense. Are there options to enhance the handling further?
Oh, yes. For those who want the absolute edge, you can get optional Michelin Cup 2R tires, very sticky rubber,
Uh-huh.
magnetic ride control, which is GM's excellent adaptive suspension system, and if your wallet can handle it, carbon fiber wheels.
Ah, yes, the carbon wheels. I saw a price mentioned.
Yeah, apparently around $14,000 for the set.
Ouch. 14 grand for wheels. That's serious. Okay, let's shift inside the car. What's the tech like? The driving experience beyond just the raw power.
Inside, it sounds like you get the latest Corvette setup, screens, tech,
Yeah.
described as modern, sharp, and driver-focused.
Standard Corvette fare, but presumably well executed.
Seems like it. And of course, there's a special X badge just so you don't forget what you're driving.
Right, the X factor.
But the really key thing for the driving dynamics seems to be the power delivery. It's described as seamless.
Seamless, despite having gas and electric power sources blending. How do they manage that?
Apparently, thanks to a new system from GM called PTM Pro, Performance Traction Management Pro.
PTM Pro, first time we're seeing this.
Yeah, introduced right here on the ZR1X.
Okay, so this PTM Pro sounds pretty critical then. What exactly is it doing?
It's described as an intelligent system doing a lot of work behind the scenes. It manages traction, obviously, but also regenerative braking, launch control, and even torque vectoring.
Torque vectoring. Okay, so actively shuffling power around.
Exactly, like a high-end race car, is the quote. And it works hand in hand with that all-wheel drive system, which itself is described as smarter, faster, and built specifically to handle this kind of savage performance.
Savage performance seems like the right term. It's all about making that immense power usable, controllable.
That's the goal, translating power into speed reliably.
So let's bring it all together. What does this mean for you, the listener, someone interested in the absolute cutting edge of cars? I mean, this ZR1X, it's clearly not just another Corvette update.
No, it feels like a real statement piece.
It's positioned as the most powerful, fastest, and most advanced production Corvette ever built. Full stop.
And they explicitly mentioned it's not called Zora, not yet, which is interesting, but they state clearly. The ZR1X is America's hypercar.
America's hypercar. And when can people actually expect to see this thing?
The timeline mentioned is Q4 of 2025, so late next year, potentially.
Okay, so summing it up, this deep dive really shows the ZR1X as America stepping onto that global hypercar stage.
And not timidly, either. It feels like a real punch,
Mm.
challenging the old guard not just on raw performance and tech, but critically on value, on the price point.
It really forces you to rethink what's possible for, well, under $200,000 in that performance bracket.
Absolutely.
Which leads us to a final thought, a provocative question for you to mull over. When you look at these numbers, this tech and that price, does the ZR1X genuinely reshape how you perceive an American hypercar?
Yeah, does it change the game in your mind?
And maybe more pointedly, if you had the money, if you were actually in the market for this kind of machine, would you seriously consider this Corvette ZR1X over, say, a Ferrari or a Lamborghini now?
It's a fascinating question. Does the badge still hold the same weight when the performance and price are this compelling? Something to think about.